One of my all-time favorite books is this book by Jim Collins titled Good to Great. Easily top 5 of my favorite books that I ever came across. This whole idea of don't judge a book by its cover, a damn lie. Judge that book by that cover, guys. I literally saw this book and I was like, Good to Great, interesting. I wonder what that could be talking about. And then I bought it. Easily one of the best books I've ever read. Quote me on this one. Literally quote me on this one. Why am I so confident? Just do trust me. I'm gonna do trust my way out of this one. Honestly, easily one of the best books ever. I got it literally on the street, secondhand. There's this guy who was selling books and stuff somewhere in downtown Joburg. I forgot what that street is called. The other dodgier looking bridge right across Nelson Mandela Bridge. Yeah, it was Saturday. I think we were coming from an event somewhere, and then I was walking back to a taxi. This would have been 2014, 15, something to that effect. I'm not sure. But yeah, I got this book. I saw it, like, Good to Great. I'm like, okay. At the time, I was super obsessed with just anything that makes you better than you are. I still am, but that time it was like, this is so amazing. So seeing a book that says Good to Great, I'm like, done, count me in. I remember I had a bit of money on me, and then I asked this guy, how much is this book? He's like, 50 rand. I didn't even negotiate. I'm like, done, I want it. Oh, and boy, oh boy, was it worth it. I feel like if I see that guy again, I could give him even more money, because this was money well spent. And the crazy thing is, I was looking at this from a personal development standpoint, but then I know I've always had this idea that eventually I have to be in some sort of business. So it says why some companies make the leap and others don't. So for some reason, I just had the confidence that whatever these lessons are for companies, you can apply them to your personal space or literally any other organization. And damn right, I was right, because this is one of those, I can rank it up there as one of those books that they transcend the fields that they were specifically written for. And 100%, I feel like everyone should read this book at least 5 times in their life, because it's amazing. Or maybe once if you are not as slow as some of us. So I'm going to be taking 1 or 2 things from that specific book that are going to lead us in our episode today. It's going to be our lampposts for today's episode. The one that I'm going to take for starters is a chapter called First Who, Then What. First Who, and Then What. So, the idea behind this is that before a company, again, in this case, we're looking at us as a country, as a company. The idea is that before a company, any company can make that leap from good, being just good, to being great, they have to figure out who the right people are for that company. That is very important. The first step is making sure that the right people are in place, and then we can figure out where we're going. So I feel like this is one of those things that will be relevant, very, very relevant to us. So with that said, welcome guys, welcome back to episode number 4 of A Sorry State. Again, this is our podcast where we look at the way things are, the way things we think should be, and how we think things could look if we all play that active role, because this all falls on us to fix this very, very sorry state of affairs that we look at right now as our country. So, for episode number 4, let's get it. So, this is what Jim Collins and his team found, because yes, I mentioned that this book was authored by Jim Collins, but that's not strictly accurate, because this was like a team effort. There's a whole bunch of very, very smart people who put in like serious research, like Stanford, Harvard graduates, and whatever the case that he collaborated with on this project. So what he and his team did is they spent a good amount of time like trying to study many companies, that some are still standing, some disappeared in a puff of smoke. But the few findings really that they made that I found to be insanely interesting. One of the first things that he said in the chapter is that it's very important for people to get the right people on the bus. They made an analogy of a bus being the company. In this case, we're going to use the bus as our country. So they argued that it is very important to get the right people on the bus before you can even figure out where you are taking the bus. And that is evidently seen in our country, because I mean, if you look at the people that are in power right now, you can just tell that there are so many wrong people in our bus. We won't go anywhere really, because there are so many people that are in this bus. Now, he said it was very important to get the right people on the bus and the wrong people off the bus. That was a very important thing to note here. Get the right people on the bus and the wrong people off the bus before you even go anywhere. One of the other things that they mentioned was that it's very important to have those right people on the bus, and not people get on the bus because they have an idea of where things are going. If they have an idea of where things are going, then they are in there for the wrong reasons. Because what if we say, okay, this bus is going to, I'll give an example with me right now. We say the bus is going to Joburg from Klerksdorp here. We get to Potch. Instead of proceeding straight, we take the R54. Now we have to take an alternative. The people who got on the bus because they knew that it's only going to Joburg, and not want to appreciate that there are other things, there are adjustments that have to be made, they'll now start panicking and start causing unnecessary panic to literally everyone that is inside there. So you have to get people who understand that, okay, when you're on this bus, you're going to Joburg. We're not entirely sure how we're going to get to that. We have an idea, but we might have to deviate. Those are the right people that are needed to be on the bus. You need to have people in the bus that understand that, okay, when you get to the R54, it's going to be a slight delay as compared to taking it straight by the N12 there, all the way straight to Joburg. But if you take the R54, that slight detour is going to add a bit of time to your trip. However, you are still going to get there if you know that you have the right people on the bus. So that was one of the things that they mentioned. Now, where am I going with this? Where I'm going with this is very simple. I was just looking at most of the people that are in positions of influence and power. And it got me thinking, like, guys, but is there really any formula to the way that people are put in positions here? Or is it just, again, if you have those credentials of you knowing a guy who knows a guy who's standing next to Nelson Mandela's security, you are in, you are a cater, you are in. Do we really have like a process here, or is it like just vibes, you know what I mean? Because honestly, from the outside, it literally looks like it's just the vibes. People are just going with the flow. People are just getting on the bus because they have an idea that we're going to Joburg. People got on the bus because there was that liberation movement back in the day. And then they were like, sure, that wagon seems nice, count me in. When they got into the wagon, people started realizing that, oh wait, actually it's just not about liberation. People are just here for self-enrichment. Now, what do? I don't know. I suppose I'm just going to do exactly what everyone else is doing. Like, our bus got so full of the wrong people that I feel like even the people who are supposed to be driving don't even know where the hell they are going, because there are so many people who are yelling so many nonsense ideas at everyone in every single direction. So I feel like now we're just in a very, very tricky position where it's just vibes. Honestly, it's just vibes. We are all in there. This bus is full of the wrong people. We don't even know when to stop and pivot because the bus is so full of the wrong people. I think I'm making sense. The biggest challenge for me is going to be, okay, the first episode, I'm not going to lie, that was heavily scripted. But from then on, I'm not scripting this not nearly as much as I should. I am prepared, but it's not scripted, so I'm probably going to be going all over the place. But I trust you guys. That's why I chose you guys as. That's why you chose me as my audience, because I know we understand each other. Anyway, one of the other things that I wanted to mention that they spoke of, they said, if you have the right people on this bus, right, that largely takes away the challenge of having to motivate these right people who are in the bus. Now, let's get down into that one. Okay, the idea is that when you have the right people, I don't think if we had the right people, we'd be dealing with nearly as much corruption, incompetence, stupidity as we are dealing with right now, amongst other things. Of course, that's not an exhaustive list. However, I don't think if we had the right people in our bus, we would be having to deal with that. You know how many times we have to be like our news every day? Like, I stopped paying attention to the news every day. There was a time where the first thing I would do, I would just go online, figure out, okay, what's trending, what happened overseas, what happened here. But then you look at everything everywhere, it's just like, someone said, bring me Mike Pence, I'll kill him myself. Someone said, Maiwele economy is a gosha la pants la, meaning it doesn't matter if the economy collapses, we're going to physically pick it up from the ground. Like, I feel like it got to a point where it was making me not even nut. I just felt like it was making me dumb. Like consuming that much information from that many dingleberries. It was just like, oh my days, I can't take that. So I stopped because there's a lot. So when you see all of these things that are going on like that, you see the number, like the sheer volume of the stupid things that we have to deal with. You can clearly see that our bus is full of the wrong people. We didn't get the wrong people off our bus. If anything, we're just adding more and more wrong people onto our bus. And that's why it's proving to be damn near impossible to motivate these people to do the right thing for the people that they clearly vowed to serve. It's not a joke, it's very serious, and it's very frustrating that right now our bus is unfortunate. We have a double-decker. Actually, we probably have like several double-deckers strung together full of the wrong people. So yeah, that was one of the things that they said, that if you make sure that you get it right from the very beginning, getting the right people in the right seats on the bus, and you get most of the wrong ones, actually all of the wrong ones out of the bus, then you take away that issue of largely having to motivate people. They mentioned that as one of the very, very important things. Now, one of the, I think this ties it up so well. They mentioned that, Jim mentioned that the necessity for all of this is that if you have a great vision, regardless of how great your vision is, and you have the wrong people, it will be useless because you will not be able to execute it as much as you would have wanted to. See how important this is. So he emphasized it so much. Like I'm saying, it's an entire chapter talking about getting the right people on and the wrong people off. Like, it was so necessary to get the right people on. It is so necessary for us right now as a country, really. We need this to be the case. But, I mean, you look at us and you look at our management, or in this case being like the politicians, you look at it like, oh, what a damn joke. What a damn joke. It's a joke. Not a funny one, but it is a joke though, if you think about it. So, I don't know, man. Again, I find it so hard to not get emotional when I'm talking about this, because I am trying to remain as objective and level-headed as possible. But when you look at the things that are going on in our country, I'm saying it's a unfunny joke. The thing that would make such things possible, i.e. getting the wrong people off the bus and the right ones on the bus in their designated seats, is something that they mentioned in the chapter prior to this one. Chapter number 2, in the book, chapter number 2, it talks about level 5 leadership. They go on a whole thing explaining what a level 5 leader is. So I feel like because we don't have that in the country, for starters, that's where things go really, really wrong for us, because we don't have the right leaders who should know that this is what must be done. You know, if we had the right leadership at the very top, they would know that, okay, things like this have to be addressed as quickly, as succinctly, as directly, even as cutthroat as possible if need be. But the people at the top themselves were put in because they knew a guy who knew a guy. So it's just a continuous thing that we're not gonna get out of. Actually, wait, let me refer quickly. You see, this is why I should have notes, like proper notes, not this thing that I do of winging it. Okay, there's something, right? This one is on chapter number 8, the flywheel and the doom loop. Yes, I just remember this. So the flywheel and the doom loop. The idea is that a flywheel, when you push it, right, you will need to push consistently. You don't even have to push like 100% all the time. I think this goes back to, who is this one? John Maxwell, when he said, he was talking about the five laws or principles of leadership, something like that, where he's talking about how when you have to cut down a tree, you don't have to swing at it 100 times for it to fall all in one go. But what you have to do is just to do things consistently. You chip at it bit by bit by bit by bit. So he was talking about how if you want to chop down a tree, if you take 5 swings at it today and you walk away, tomorrow 5 more swings, you walk away, and then the day after that you swing at it 5 more times. I don't know when exactly this tree is going to fall, but best believe that tree is not going to recover from those swings if they are consistent. Eventually it will fall. So that's the whole idea with the whole flywheel thing. The flywheel is you have to be pushing, like consistently pushing. And then it was the other side of that is the doom loop. The doom loop is that we're like little mice or rats in that whole wheel thing with the cheese. Like we're just consistently running around the same place over and over again. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because what the hell, Bangan? Like there's a lot that goes on here. You just look at it, you see that we're not going to go anywhere. You see that there is no intention whatsoever from those who are at the top to change any of this. I mean, how do we explain this to me? There are people that, again, this is not an exhaustive list, but there are people like Fikile Mbalula. I'll give an example with that quite lively individual. How many posts has he held? I was actually reading up on this because I found it so interesting when I was reading up on this. Okay, these are the posts that he's held, right? On a ministerial position, ministerial level. He has been the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture. He's been the Minister of Police, and he's been the Minister of Transport. Okay, Okay. Let's keep it. Let's hold it at there for now. Why is it that someone who didn't do a good enough job at one post would get another one, and then to top it all off, they got another one after that one? So you give this person a chance to mess up and then to mess up again, and then you're like, oh, this is not enough. Me, take another one, go and mess this one up as well. So you just look at it like, oh my days. It's a doom loop, man. Like you just keep coming back. I will go 10 steps forward and then a million back. So at the end of the day, we are 919 whatever steps going backwards instead of going forward. So it's a doom loop. Like it goes on and on and on and on and on. So that's why it's very important for every single one of us to be as engaged as possible to make sure we get these fossils the hell out of here, guys. Honestly, we have to get these people out of here, because what the hell, Bangan, like I said, you know what I mean? And again, it's not just him alone. There are other people, like Toko Didiza, for instance. She is another one who held 3 positions. Abo Aaron Mutsualedi has had 2 or whatever posts. And then you come to Abo Senzo Mkunu. He's another one who has had those posts. And then you can even go down to people like Biggie Tele. He had a job and then he lost the job, and then we're like, you know what? What do we need to fix this? Let's go and fetch that man who had this position and made, I don't know, whatever difference they thought he made. So you look at it just like, this is a doom loop, guys. We're not going anywhere here. We're just going around, running around in circles here. We think we're going fast. We think we're making some sort of a difference, but not really. We're just literally standing in one place. Anyway, let me calm down a bit. Because I should have recorded this a long time ago, but I found myself at some point sitting down for a good 5 hours uninterrupted, where I was just sitting down, and honestly, like the more I kept trying to make sense of this, is the more I was just like, oh my God, how is this even possible? This is so stupid. So I think that's why I was so animated and have so much energy here. But anyway, let me calm down a bit. Take an ad break for a second. So I've over the last, I don't know how many years, more than 5 years really, I haven't been as active and on all my socials as possible. I know for a fact I don't even remember my Facebook password. I don't think I've been on Facebook since maybe 2020, early 2020. Like today is Monday. I just took a picture for the first time that I uploaded on my Instagram, like this weekend. I'm not even joking. This was probably like Saturday. I use the same picture on TikTok and stuff. So I don't know, man. I've just not been a thing. Also, that TikTok thing, I just downloaded it like recently as well. Amazing stuff. Like, I'm sure like everyone knows everything better than me when it comes to socials now. That's how much I've regressed, which is insane because I was an early adopter. I remember like I was on socials when I was maybe 12 or whatever the case, which was early for our time. I'm just like, what? This is insane. How is this kid using like these things? How do they know? Like, who are these people that you're talking to? Like all these questions that we had to answer back in the day when we started like social media back in the day, like 2007, 12, 2007, 8 there. It was such an insane thing. So I don't know, maybe because I was an early adopter, I got to a point where I was just like, I don't know, I don't care anymore. But I know now I have to get back and use it. So that is to say that on top of sharing, liking, subscribing and stuff, I need you guys to go and follow my socials. I need it. We need it. I need it. Honestly, I need you guys to go and follow my socials, because the more you guys are interacting and then others are, so you're interacting, you're liking, I know how the algorithm works and stuff. This will be recommended to more people so you can get even more people engaged in this. Because at the end of the day, like I said from the very beginning, this is not about me. This is a civic duty. All of us are we are so involved in this. We have to be so involved in this to make that sort of difference. There are those of us who are going to be brave enough to want to start petitions. Those of us who are going to be brave enough to want to do something active, put their hands up for elections or whatever the case. But there are those who just need that bit of an extra conversation so they can go and vote. We have a lot of mindsets that we have to change. So in as much as I'm going to be having so much fun with this, just talking, because why not? Talking is easy, guys. I can do this every day. But at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we get as many people engaged as possible. So I need you guys to follow my socials, because they're on my socials. Mostly, I specifically spent this weekend trying to find a way to make my socials interesting. So I was thinking, studying other people's socials and stuff, because I specifically want to share this, make sure we get it to as many people as possible. So I was pretty pleased. Go and follow me, you guys, on my socials. I am asking nicely. So yeah, on TikTok, Instagram, whatever the case. Yeah, so on Instagram, my name is V Mutarini, VMutarini, VMutarini. And then on TikTok, it is